Welcome to the power of perception. So why is perception such an important subject? It is said that we see the world not as it is, but as we are. And if this is true, it is important to understand how we perceive the world and how that is different from how others see the world. An area where this is particularly important is in interpersonal communication. Albert Mehrabian, a professor at UCLA, is known for his research in nonverbal communication. And in his book, Silent Messages, he claims that in interpersonal communication, 55% is body language, 38% is tone of voice, 7% is words or content. In other words, in communication, 7% is about what you say and 93% is about who you are talking to. This means that if you want your communication to be effective, it is important that you know your own personality and the personality of the person you are talking to. Leonardo da Vinci once said, "All our knowledge has its origins in our perceptions." But this means that if we can expand our perception, expand our awareness, we can see more and we can know more. And in order to understand how we can enhance our perception, we need to look at two basic mechanisms in which we alter or distort our perception of reality. One way of doing this is by projecting on the world outside us. And the other way is by filtering the impressions that we get. Let us look at how we project on reality first. Take a look at this figure. Now, what do you see? Most people can see a cube in this figure, but the cube is not really there. What most people perceive as the lines of the cube is in fact white space. We can only see a cube here because we project it, like we project a movie on a screen in the theater. And we can only project the cube because we have a mental concept of a cube inside us. If we share this projection with others, then we can actually work together from a shared mental model. But if others do not share this projection and have a different one, or are unfamiliar with the concept of a cube, then we have seemingly irreconcilable points of view. But if we understand that there is projection, we can try to understand what is being projected and try to see things the way other people see it. The other way of distorting reality is by filtering it. And in a sense we have to. Otherwise reality might be too overwhelming. Walk into your average department store and you have to filter before you start buying everything in sight, right? Look at this image for a moment and ask yourself, how many human faces do you see? Do you see 4? Do you see 5? Take a moment to have a look. Now most people can see 4 or 5 and some even 7. And yes, the baby counts as a face. But there are in fact 9 discernible faces. Look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 and 7. 6 looks to the left. 7 looks straight at us, and 8 and 9. So have another look and see if you can see all 9 faces. But the point of this exercise is that we filter an image like this. Because we can be overwhelmed by its detail, and as a result, we focus on what we want to see or think we need to see. So we initially see a limited amount of faces And if we are in a group, other ones see different faces. So we tend to see only a fraction of reality, and if we realize this, we can start working on seeing the whole picture and to see how it all connects. And this can be very helpful to understand the situation we are in. But as this exercise shows, it is hard work, and it is really hard to see everything. Now, there's no good or bad, and there needs to be no judgment on the use of these mechanisms, projection and filtering, because they are useful processes of perception. They help us deal with reality either by filtering it or projecting some concept on it. The important thing is to be aware of this so that we can change our modus as the situation requires. That is what matters. Take this text, for instance. According to research at the University of Cambridge, it does not matter in what order the letters of a word are, as long as the first and last letter are in the right place. Go ahead, try to read this. It is really amazing what our minds can do, but it has nothing to do with outer reality. Whereas reality is in front of our eyes, the way you perceive and organize it is behind your eyes. It is there that your personality filters and organizes data. The result is that two people who have the same reality in front of their eyes can disagree on what they see, and both be right. Take this image, for example. Do you see the saxophone player? What does he look like? Do you see the shadows on the face of a beautiful woman? And can you see both? The point here is that two people can look at the same object, see something different, and both be right. Reality is not what is in front of our eyes. It is what is behind them. And in case you were wondering, you are right. It is not logical, it is psychological. Or, as Carl Jung once said, two people see the same object, but they never see it in such a way that the images they receive are absolutely identical. So, perception is the key to personal and interpersonal effectiveness. Why is this? Well, our perception is the only reality we know. We filter reality according to what we know and what we believe. And our belief systems, or paradigms as we call them, they act like maps. They help us find the way. They help us deal with the reality out there. However, if we try to find our way in Las Vegas, for example, with a map from Salt Lake City, we will get lost, like the guy in the picture. Similarly, different personality types have different maps of reality and get lost with each other. But to be able to see things differently, we have to do some work. We have to be willing to examine and understand something from different points of view. We need to understand the power of the polarities present in a given situation. So let's look at that next.